All right. Well, welcome to the very first Just Be Nice Project podcast of 2020. Today, sitting across from me, the very handsome, inimitable,
here we go.
jacked, super athlete, gym extraordinaire, CrossFit athlete extraordinaire, former footballer. So, busted up shoulder having superstar Clay. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Well, thank you for that massive introduction.
Mate,
I just
you're
got
a
there,
massive
buddy.
man. You deserve every inch of it.
Thanks, buddy. It's really good to be here. It's my first podcast, so looking forward to it.
Don't bugger it up.
I'll try not to.
We're sort of sat in the corner here, so I'm interested to see how this sort of goes editing-wise and whether or not it sounds good or terrible, but, we'll do our best. That's okay.
That's what we're here for. One at a time, buddy.
Mate, you're here because we've got a little bit of a crazy situation going on in a couple of weeks' time where we're going to give a little bit of a 24-hour challenge a crack, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that a bit later on. But you're not actually from Melbourne originally. No,
I'm from Newcastle. I've spent most of my life in the small town called Toronto. Grew up there playing rugby league. Yeah, my dad was a professional rugby league player, and
not a coal miner.
No, not a coal miner. My brother actually is a coal miner,
Yep.
So he got stuck underground, and unfortunately, lucky for me, I didn't. So
Yeah, nice.
I escaped.
Was he any good at footy?
Yeah, he wasn't a bad footballer, actually. He was a pretty handy 5'8".
Yep.
And halfback. He was a little bit shorter, but he was very stocky. Kind of like yourself, very stocky. Yeah, very
Just
stocky.
a big lump of a man.
Yeah, but he was quite crafty, actually. He didn't get a crack at first grade back home, but he was still a good footballer.
And did your old man put a footy in your hand early days?
Actually, I think the first sport I ever played was soccer. I think it's because I was too young to play football. So
Yep.
I think I spent 1 year playing soccer, and then Dad's like, here, Clay, have a footy.
Yep.
And then that was it. I pretty much played rugby league from the age of 6 or 7 until 26 when I retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you go at the rugby?
I was pretty good. I was all right for a young fella trying to get by. It was a very tough era to get through. So we had in Newcastle, our junior rugby league team was called Macquarie Scorpions. That in Toronto. So I played my juniors out there till I was 18. In representative teams like through Newcastle, the representative side through 16s and 18s, and then I came to the 20s, and I actually just finished high school, and the day after...
In your 20s?
No, to start my 20s.
I was 26, I finished high school.
A little bit slow. No, I was 18, and I just finished high school and about to start my under-20s for rugby league.
Yep.
And I had literally done my exam in year 12, and the next day I was on a flight with the under-20s feeder team to South Logan to Brisbane.
Yep.
And that was for the Raiders under-20s. So I jumped ship from Newcastle to Canberra. After that, which trying to follow in the footsteps of the old man.
Yep. Played the flag at the Raiders, your old man?
Yeah, he won 2 grand finals, Dad did. He won the 89 and the 90 grand final.
Not bad. Good team.
Mate, really good team. Some big names in there. Mal Meninga, Laurie
Mal.
Daly.
Yep.
Yeah, a few big names. Even
Big names and bigger jumpers in the 89-90 grand final.
I reckon Dad was one of the smaller jumpers out there.
Oh, yeah.
He was a winger, so he was he was a little bit smaller than the rest of them. But he had a saying he used to go by was, "It's not the size of the fight and the dog." Oh, no, I said that wrong, didn't I?
Go on, what did he used to say?
He used to say, I think
what did he used to say?
It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight and the dog.
There we go.
That's it. That's
Classic
the one
small bloke talk, that is.
Yep. But, that makes up for his stature. So I guess.
That's good. And so how many games did your old man play? Ish?
I think it was around the 130 to 140.
Nice,
But he didn't start at Canberra. He started at Manly. So he got his first crack. He actually made the grand final in his first year of rugby league with Manly Sea Eagles.
Yep.
He played against Parramatta.
We knew that was going to happen, that someone was going to ring the doorbell.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We
Leave a message.
Yep, show goes on.
Yeah, show goes on. That's it.
That's right.
It'll just be the post guy probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So you started playing young, and then you got to the 20s and you decided you're going to go have a crack at the Canberra team because...
Oh, that was following Dad's footsteps.
Yep.
And It didn't
Did
last.
you have to move to Canberra from Newcastle then?
No, it was more Brisbane. I was stationary in with their
Okay.
feeder team because
Yep.
we're also trying to make Q Cup as well.
Because that Logan side is now the Storm side.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
now feed the Melbourne Storm down here.
as well as East Tigers do, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I decided, no, I'm going to come back home. So I went back to Newcastle after that and played first grade out with Macquarie.
Yep.
Yep. It was some good years. I planned to probably spend about 3 or 4 more years back at home, and then I moved down here to Melbourne where I tried to have a crack. I was with the feeder team at North Wolves out in Essendon.
Yep.
Essendon, and then we made the Victorian team. I made the Victorian team out of that, playing fullback. And then after that, we got selected to play for CAS, which is Combined Affiliated States. It's an Australian team.
Yep.
And before I went over playing for Australia again in Samoa, I actually did my ACL in my knee.
Yep.
And that was my point where I was about to say, all right, I'm 25. You know, I'm gonna play this game with no ACL. So I actually played against Samoa with no ACL in my knee.
Yep.
And the amount of strap and tape that was
I can
on
imagine.
my knee, it was ridiculous. Like to not let it go out of alignment or, you know, do any further damage. So I played that last game, and then I got my surgery when I got back from the tour. That was my turning point. I actually tried to come back to rugby league, and I couldn't sprint the
Yep.
same way because they took my graft from my hamstring.
Yeah. Yep.
And when they took that graft, it essentially made my sprint stride shorter.
Yep.
And it kept tearing. So I said, all right, well, that's it. I said, if I can't play to my 100% potential, I don't want to be doing the sport that I love, and I can't give it everything I have.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And then
That's my excuse for not being able to run fast
Yeah.
anymore. That's the hamstring in the ACL.
Yep.
They took it out.
Bugger.
Now I'm just too slow.
Yeah.
But before that, I was a jet. Ask
Oh.
anybody. Don't ask anybody.
What was your 100 time?
Oh, 6 minutes.
Oh.
Blistering pace.
pace. Solid.
No, I was not much good at the old hundy. So you sort of retire about 26 then ish thereabouts.
Yep. Retired 26. I spent the next year sort of, you know, rehabilitating my knee. Then one of my good friends, actually, one of my best mates, Terry Constantino, he introduced me to CrossFit, and I didn't know what it was, never heard of it before. I gave it a crack. I said, look, I'll give this 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'll give this 2 weeks to see if I like it. And funny enough, the transition from rugby league to CrossFit was not as hard as I thought it would be.
Yep.
I probably spent about 1 week and I was hooked on CrossFit.
Shirtless blokes, sweat,
Yeah.
weight room,
Mate,
happy days, not much different.
What more can I want?
What more could you want? You
Exactly.
fit right in. Inside, good for the fair-skinned. It's good.
Really good. A nice good tan too.
All right, so you're doing CrossFit. Wicked.
Yeah.
Obviously,
You used to do a bit yourself, I hear.
I've given it a crack.
Yeah?
Yep, did that.
Shifted some good tin back in the day.
A little
I heard.
bit. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Now that Photoshop, you can make your own videos. I could just literally just make a video. I just need a handful of still photos that I can just show my grandkids where I've just like red plates
Yeah.
end to end. Just be like, guys, I was really strong. You guys are pathetic.
I've seen those red plates that are actually the super, super light ones.
Yeah,
they can put
the
on.
dummy plates, they're
Yeah.
the best.
It's all smoke and mirrors. That's what it is.
That's the trick. No one really cares. It's all right.
No one does.
I think the problem with being amongst that sort of thing, and being in a professional sporting space and being around high performing athletes, is you just realise there's always someone better all the time.
Oh.
Someone's stronger, someone's quicker,
Exactly.
someone's more jacked, more ripped.
Mate, you can be a big fish in a small pond at your local gym, but if you go to a competition, maybe you might be that little fish in a big pond.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to me often. So
Often.
I sort of, I'm going all right. I'm going all right.
Okay.
You just open up Instagram, you're like, I'm not going that good.
Yeah, no.
I'm miles off.
There's
I'm miles
a
off
lot
the
of
pace.
beasts out there, man.
So you did the CrossFit thing, and then you started training people somewhere while you were training, to play as well. You were doing this on the side, or you decided to retire and you wanted to train people after you stopped playing footy?
Well, once I stopped playing footy and took up CrossFit, I was using CrossFit more as an afternoon fitness, meet people, have a social community, and then I was starting to get pretty good at it. Like, not trying to give myself a big head,
that's
but
all right. Go ahead.
I was actually, I found it really easy to adapt and transfer from rugby to CrossFit. the high cardio grunt work was really in my wheelhouse. Barbell conditioning took a little bit of time, and the gymnastics component also took a little bit of time.
Your shoulders are train wreck, so I'm not surprised.
Yes. I've had about 5 recos, I think. I've had 5 recos. So
the old Benji Marshall just can't stop running into people with his shoulder syndrome.
More knees and ankles for me. But I actually had 2 recos on my face. So I had I think I was like...
You need another one.
I know. It's
always a good face. You got a great face.
Always room for improvement. Good face for radio. But yeah, it was really, really good to try something new. And I was still concreting at the time. And then once I fell in love, I think I've always been in love with fitness and lifting weights and training people. And I've always been a people's person. I think I felt like I was selling myself short doing construction.
Yep.
And I had an idea one day. I was like, okay, I'm doing pretty well now in the fitness industry. I took up coaching with just a Cert 3 and Cert 4.
Yep.
And then I just said, you know what, I'm going to save all my money from construction because it's paying me well. And then I ended up buying my own business about 6 months ago. And it's called The Pit. And that's what we're here for.
Double T,
not one T.
Yeah, not one T. The Pit is in Brad.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. Oh, he's a great looking bloke. He definitely...
No facial reconstruction required there.
No, good looking rooster.
Yeah, so that's just down the road. So you started CrossFit and did all that kind of stuff. You were in Melbourne at the time. You were playing down here. Did you get drafted? Did you go on a draft at some point in those 25 years, that 6-year period, 18 to 25?
It was more in the 18 to 21 was more the draft period. But then you get to that stage where they've already got their juniors who they're looking after in certain clubs, and you're your first grade team. Ours was called the Newcastle comp, so it's the Tooheys Cup.
Yep.
And that's a very, very tough comp. It's one step down from the NRL pretty much.
Yep.
And you got so many good guys coming back from injury that were with the Knights, and then you're trying to make it in yourself. It's a hard battle. And you're lucky trying to stay in first grade just to let enough because there's young kids, there's people coming
Cooper
back.
Vuna running around.
Oh, I remember who was one of my Scotty Giro was probably one of the best blokes that came back from first grade. He was our halfback for our club. Scotty Giro came back through injury. Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome to watch.
It's a tough gig being on the fringes of drafting / rookie.
Yep.
The rookie list people in the NRL.
I don't know. If it's a rookie list. I think that's more an AFL thing.
Yeah, because even the different sports, and I noticed the challenges in the different sports. Because in rugby union, they'll pick you up at 32 if you have a good season. If you're playing, open side flanker and you're crushing it, and you just work your way up, you can end up like was it Bo Robinson in the Wallabies side?
Yeah.
Was just working at a pub 18 months earlier and just playing, local and then rep, and they'll put you through if you're playing well.
Yeah.
In Aussie rules, if you don't get drafted at 18, 19, you're done.
Yeah.
Like they just don't pick up older people unless you're like 6'9". It's very, very rare to pick up someone in their 20s.
Yeah.
But then in league, because your body needs a bit of time to adapt and be stronger and, take a few more hits. Some of the big boys might get picked up a bit later, but...
Yeah, if you're not
these fast ones.
Yeah, the fast ones. So I was in the back. So I was in the back seat. They were very nurtured at the start, and
they're out in Western Sydney picking up all that talent out there and getting them done.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a little bit far from Newcastle, but it's they are quick.
Yeah, there's some quick boys running around out there.
They were there's a lot of fast boys, and the one thing the coaches always said is you can't teach speed.
Can't teach speed.
Yep.
That's unfortunate, but I do enjoy watching the combine training and stuff with the NFL guys that know shaving off tenths of seconds off their 40s and stuff like that, which is good.
Super impressive, aren't they?
So how do you find you're rolling through and your motivation starts to change from, all right, well, it doesn't look like I'm going to get a berth here. I don't think I'm going to get the chance to play 50 professional games or 100 or whatever. Even one, get in the door and get almost. Do you think one would be more devastating than none? Do you think to get in, play one, and then just be immediately dropped and never to be seen again would be worse?
No, I think even if you played one NRL game, it's just an achievement. I think even as a little boy, everyone that has the dream that is a kid that wants to play NRL, you get that first game, that's just your highlight. That is the top of the peak. I always wanted to get it. I didn't get it, unfortunately. I just had a string of injuries to my name, and I'm not the only person that's happened to. Yep. There's heaps of guys that have been really good talents and just haven't got there.
To be fair, they should have just trained you up and chucked you in the blue side. You literally could not have done worse in that period of time. They could have just put in a few people who really care and just like, look, I will break my body to get this game.
That was a bad decade. It was a very bad
That's a long decade, mate.
But the calibre on that Queensland side,
it was basically the Australian team.
It was pretty much the Aussie team.
Yep.
They were just an unreal unit. You couldn't beat them.
No, you can't, but no one can.
No, JT, Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, look at all them names.
Legends, yeah.
Legends of the game.
Absolutely. So now you've done the transition, you've hung up your trowel, you're no longer concreting.
Yeah, that's gone.
Giving that away. And how are you finding sort of slipping into this other sort of role of owning a place, being part of the management of it, promoting it, and also sort of training people and doing the programming and all that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, I found it really challenging the first two to 3 months of owning it, because I was so naive and a little bit unaware, and I threw myself in the deep end, and it's I'm still figuring out things along the way.
Lucky for you, you're one of the most high energy people that I know, so you've got that going for you.
Some of the boys call me the Energizer battery, and just never say die. I literally wake up on.
I do not. I'm like the juggernaut. It's like once I get rolling, I'm all right. But the more it takes a few steps, wipe the sleep out of the eyes and get stuck in.
Couple of coffees will get you there, brother.
But you're finding like you're measuring your time differently, or you're prioritizing things differently. If you had to give a few things up.
I had to give up coaching a couple of CrossFit classes just because my schedule now is early mornings and late afternoons into the night.
Yep.
My PTs had to be moved around a little bit just because the middle of the day is now where I train. That's where I get my training in. I can train now up to 2-3 times a day, but when I was doing construction, I could train maybe half an hour.
Yep.
Because I'd be doing construction work and then trying to coach CrossFit mornings and nights. So I was working nearly 16 to 15 hour days.
Yep.
Yeah. But everything comes with hard work, and it pays off in the end.
Do you ever get time to see your missus?
I do now.
Yeah.
I do now. Yeah. she's happy about that.
That's good.
Vera. She's very happy. But she's actually really happy about that. So I didn't see her for a good 3 months there, that I was just knuckled down with all my studies, and things were going to pay off in the end. And they have. I got to open my own business. Like, that's massive. Like, I've never ever thought I could say that.
Well, you can now, so good work.
Thanks.
And you've
Cheers, buddy.
It's killing it. You've got
It's
one
going very well.
lagging light, and that's probably about the only thing that I would criticise in the gym. It's a great space. It's a great little space, great little setup you got going on there. Good little crew. The people, really high energy, really good people. And I guess that's part of the reason why you thought they'll probably be up for giving this little thing a crack that you sort of proposed end of last year over a frothy at the ESPY.
It was actually, we did bump into each other there. And
it's a good times. Christmas party drinks.
It was good. And I had no idea who you were, and you had no idea who I was. And
mate, I knew who you were. The handsome bloke on the other side of the room. I said, look at this big rooster over here. I got to stand next to this guy. Oh, wow. I don't know what to say. I'm embarrassed now. Hey, it's good.
I'm good.
And you had this idea, and I thought it could be just a drunken bloke, sort of saying that he's keen. It happens sometimes. I've had a few cuddles from people that are sort of going, I love it, we're going to do this.
The old
thing.
liquid courage gets people over.
Yeah, that's it. But, not long after you follow up, and why did you want to do a 24-hour ski erg? People keep asking me this, like, why the ski erg?
Look, I said, what's manageable? I've always had this drive, and I've always been ready to compete. Like, I love competing. I love challenges that are almost near impossible to reach. And I think when I first asked you to do it, I said it was just going to be the two of us.
Yeah.
And then you sort of talked me out of it, and I was like, okay, well, we'll go to teams of 4 like that. And I was like, yeah, all right. It'll still be a big challenge. Like, staying awake, I think, is going to be the hardest bit.
Yep.
But I really enjoy those challenges that people are like, oh my God, why are you doing this? And then that's the ones I love.
Yeah.
Because if you can complete that, you conquer it. That's a massive achievement, and that's another notch in your resume.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
I did chat to the guys at Roadshow Coffee. They reckon they're going to go come plonk out the front and keep us caffeinated. So I think that will help get it done. Good. And one of the things I find brings people particularly to the Just Be Nice project is that they've been in a situation where I suppose what is often the dominant sort of conversation, they've executed along those lines in their lives and found that there's gaps still, which is obviously why I started it so many years ago as well, as I just feel like a lot of people falling through the gaps, and I don't tend to press people on these things very often, but we had a pretty frank and really good discussion about what sort of drew you to that situation. And I'm interested if you want to sort of give us a bit of a lowdown about, I suppose, your experience with looking for the extra bits of help that you sort of have seen maybe missing in people and in your life.
Yeah, like when I told you a couple of weeks ago what happened, I had a friend down here in Melbourne. I actually didn't know him for that longer period of time, probably 2 years I only knew him for. Him. He was a really close mate over that period, coming from Newcastle to live here in Melbourne. You do link up with people that are like-minded and share the same values and same bonds. And his name was Reid. And we became really, really close. And we went and played for Victoria. We went and played for Australia together in the Cass side. And we used to work together as well. And there was a day there, I think he was in a battle trying to get custody over his child. And the partner was being very difficult to let him see his child. And I remember he got a text one day. I won't go into what the text said, but it really put him in a real bad place. And he's such a positive person he was. And he was super motivated. And to see him, it just sort of seen the life just get sucked out of him from just one email, one text message, or whatever it was. And I remember he went home that day from work and he was just nothing, no expression, no anything. He was just blank. And so I remember 10:45 that night, I got a phone call saying that he'd taken his life. And I remember I don't think it really hit me till the next day. And then that's when it started getting real, like all our friends and that knew Ray had put posts on social media. And I remember I was in a gym just trying to do some weights to just not think about it. And then you scroll through your phone and you see all that stuff and you just break down. You think, well, God, it's real. Like he's gone. Like, and I remember that was one of the saddest days I think I've ever had in my life to know that one of your mates has taken his life and you could have nearly done something to prevent it, but you didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't know. I was at work with him that day when he got it. So yeah, that was a real tough time for all of us. I think, I said it before about my mate Terry, like we were all really good friends with Ray, and eventually it made us stronger as mates. Like we came together, and Terry's one of my best mates, and that's probably through Ray. Like Ray brings people together, and that's that's pretty much all I got to say. I think your story is unfortunately, it's not an uncommon one. No.
I often sort of say to people when they're talking about what to do or what can be done or how do we help this problem, and oftentimes you sort of look at the circumstance. So how many people sort of took their own life and then no one was at the funeral, and it's exceptionally rare that there's no one around people, but a lot of the conversations, a lot of stuff that gets posted all the time is like, I just care more, or just ask a bit more, or just show up a bit more. And like you said, you were there that day. You were there. You're prepared. You're a good friend. I'd put a $50 on it that even if you didn't know the person and they were having a tough time, but they were like, I need a chop out, that you jump in and do it.
Of course.
But what happens is, that people when they're at their lowest ebb, they don't feel like there's anyone that can actually deliver the help that they need. And so it's not just, I need to talk about it a little bit more with somebody. That's not always the case. It's that I'm in this situation where I feel like I've lost agency over my life. I don't know what I can do now to get control of that. I don't see it getting any better. And we measure on a scale of despair to agency. And despair is where you don't see anything positive happening in the future. You don't see how you can get control of anything. You don't think it's going to get better. You think it's going to get worse. So you're despairing, and then if you have agency, you believe that you have a chance to do something to move the needle. And people can endure a lot if they feel like they've got some agency. Yeah. But if you take that agency away from people and they feel like there's nowhere to go and no one can help and they're stuck and that's it, that's the end of the road, then that's a really horrible, dark place to be in.
Hey,
just telling those people in that moment, "I just talk to someone" as well, is not.
To do more than talk.
It's not great, because we put too much expectation on the most vulnerable people. So, for me, hearing your experience there, and hearing about what happened to Ray, for me, it just sort of as well really hammers home the importance of providing an avenue to all the kinds of support that people need, regardless of what it is, and just so that people can know that something's happening, that we're going to move in the right direction, even if it's slowly. And I think that works as well. I mean, fitness is always a great analogy. It's just like little bits and pieces consistently in the right direction. No one comes in and drops 50 kilos in a week.
No,
but
it takes time.
Hard work. As long as you feel like it's possible, though, you probably engage. And as long as you understand what's going on, you engage. You've got some support. Yeah. You engage. You've got a great environment. Yeah. It helps bring you along. And I think that
fitness is a positive place.
Totally.
It should be there to motivate people. And that's probably why I took the industry, because I want to be surrounded by people like-minded like myself. And
train 3 times a day, so you look like that. It's great.
They're back, those compliments. They're back.
Yeah, mate, I'm full of them. Don't worry. I got them all day for you. So, I mean, look, I hate that it takes that sort of stuff to bring people into doing these kinds of things.
It's not good.
No, it's not good. But I am, again, grateful to Ray. This is an opportunity, again, that's sort of been brought together thanks to the inimitable connections that people don't know they have in the world, and the things that happen, which is great. I'm not super stoked about tearing my hands apart on a ski erg for 24 hours, but
I'll be there with you the whole way.
Soft baby hands over here.
I think you
haven't been lifting as much as you have.
You need to go get a barbell, or maybe lay some bricks in the backyard, roughen them up a little bit.
That's it. Yeah, I'll just get on the rope, get on the bricks, and throw them around a little bit. Is there anything? Is there anything when you sort of think about? I wish I had all these tools at my disposal to help people, to provide to people so they could have a more fulfilling, better, well-supported life. Is there anything that sticks out to you that sort of you wish you could just drop on people whenever it came up, where you could just be like, oh, boom, here's the thing I can always contribute?
Look, I think you have to work to your strengths in that sort of thing. Like, I am a very supportive type of guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve.
When you wear sleeves?
When I wear sleeves. Yeah, look, I think you should be a supportive person. Like, it should be in your nature. It's human nature. You should be able to go up to the person that's walking into let's say that walking into a fitness room, and they're nervous and they're intimidated, and they're scared. And you should be able to come up to them and say, "Hey, it's going to be okay. We're going to go on this journey together." And the best thing about people that do that is I really like people like that, because no matter how confronting or daunting it might be to come into an environment where there are fit people, and there are people that are out there that intimidate you a little bit. It's good. I love seeing people take the first step, and you watch them change, not only like through body, but their attitude, and they're more confident, they're more vibrant, like they're better people, and I can always put my hand up to ever I can help anyone. And that's just how I think I've always been like that. I'm the oldest of 2 brothers. I've got 2 younger brothers, and being the oldest, I feel like I need to be that guy that protects everyone.
Yep.
And that's just sort of how I've always been growing up, I guess. Yeah.
You had a couple of people in your life that have given you a good chop out along the way?
Yeah, like my parents. Oh, my parents. Like, I wouldn't be able to do half the things in my life without the guidance and without the long chats. The long chats that my dad and my mum. My mum's she's a really good lady. My dad is a very strong, determined, hardworking man. And they've been my, everything they've taught me in life is what's brought me to who I am today. And I just can't speak highly enough of them.
What are their names?
Phil and Cheryl.
Big Phil and Cheryl.
Phil and Shez.
Yeah, we love Phil and Shez.
Filthy Phil and Shez a girl.
Good on Filthy. Filthy because he dropped that ball, or?
He actually did drop a ball in the 90 grand final over the line, and don't worry, we never let him forget
Phil.
it.
Filthy soap hands, Phil.
Hands like feet.
Phil, it's a stitch up. He told me about that already, so I thought I'd drop it in there just for the old family joke. And tell us a little bit about the pit. Tell us about where people can find you if they want to say g'day and get behind all the good stuff that you're about and that you're getting done.
So the pit is in Paran. That's in Melbourne. If you are anywhere within the southeast region, we are just behind Chapel Street. So the pit is 4 dedicated pit zones. So we try and target 4 aspects of fitness. So we do P is for purpose, I is for intensity, T is for technique, and the other T is
top
for
off.
Tempo.
Oh, tempo. Last T is for top off. We should put a third T on the end there. T, top off.
T, double T, triple T.
Triple T.
Triple T. Yeah, we'll drop that third letter.
The third one on there.
Yes, that is what it stands for. So your purpose is your cardio conditioning, which we have rowers, assault runners, ski ergs, which we're about to take on,
obviously.
And assault blacks, which I really love.
Also gross.
Yes. And then we have our intensity pit, which is our I. Intensity is all your HIIT work. So you're doing battle ropes, sleds, slam balls, dumbbell cleans, thrusters, whatever. And then you'll move to your next pit, which is called your technique. So that's all your weightlifting. That's where you lift from the rigs, from the weightlifting platforms, the benches, and then you're in there for 9 minutes, and then you'll move on to your last one, which is your tempo. Your tempo is your boxing principles. So we've got a component of boxing, weightlifting, HIIT, and cardio, all mixed together for a 45-minute workout to 50 minutes. You will do all different kinds of rep schemes, time limits, etc., and get a general really good workout. And we've actually seen a lot of people have some really good results with our type of training. We have 2 strength days a week, and then we have 4 cardio days a week. Mm-hmm. But you can also find us on the app. We have our own app, so it's called The Pit. P-I-double-T, not
there we
triple
go.
T.
Not triple T yet.
Triple T, double T.
I might open a different one down the road with 3 T's, did I?
Start a franchise. Have to watch you.
Yeah, watch out. Just take some notes here, get ready to go. Yeah, so that's if you're in Paran or thereabouts, and we'll be on the 14th of March at 8 a.m. we're going to kick off the 24 hours Ski Erg situation. We'll chuck the links everywhere. They're on Instagram, on Facebook, they're online. You can just look for it on GoFundMe. You can do all that kind of stuff. So 8 a.m. on the 14th of March until 8 a.m. on the 15th of March will be ski erging. Yep. More teams than I thought were going to do it definitely are doing it in Paran. So there's a bunch of teams giving this a crack at the pit in Paran. But we've also got teams joining us from interstate as well, so they'll be doing it the same day, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, it was. It's really good. It's not exclusive, so that's good. Not going to lie, my sense of competition is well and truly tickled. I would really want to get the furthest out of everybody and give that a crack. We are in the same team, buddy, right. So it's all good. So we'll be giving that a big crack, and if you're in the area and you want to come down, say g'day. Yeah. I mean, you'll see some sweaty people standing around and/or going on the ski erg, trying to be hydrated. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a team in budgies for the whole time. Oh, this won't be our team, mate. No, it's not going to. Could possibly be. The one bit of the thing that weight training doesn't make a difference. I don't know if I want to be walking around in budgies all day long. Don't do that. You're good. So, get amongst it. Jump on. Where they find you on the internet to say good day to Clay? Guys, you can find me either via Instagram. My Instagram account is @_Clayton Carey _. We also have in our link there with our bio is the GoFundMe page for the 24-hour Ski Erg Challenge. You can also find us on Facebook, The Pit. Double T. In case I haven't worked that out yet. Yep, The Pit on Facebook, and that also has Instagram, The Pit Paran. You can find any link, any bio. If you're willing to donate smallest amount of money to the largest, you can even donate $1,000. Like I'd be happy about that. Yep, so, you're welcome to. More than happy to. The more the merrier. But that's the only links I think that we have. They're the Facebook, ones. The Instagram. Sweet. We even on Google. I think you can find The Pit. It's the top of the list. So it should be. Engine. Yep. After Brad. Yep. first Brad, then The Pit. Very good. Yeah, I like Brad. Mate, thanks very much for stepping up and giving it a crack. Thanks for getting on board. Thanks for looking after us and looking after the people around you. I really appreciate it, and I know everyone that has anything to do with you has got nothing but 1,000 kind words to say about what a superstar bloke you are. So well done, Phil and Cheryl. You've done an absolutely sterling effort here with this young man. Thanks, Mum and Dad. Yeah, good on you. Come down. Get him to come down. Jump in the car, drive down. I'll buy him a plane ticket. Dad can't drive at the moment. Can't drive? No. He's all beat up. No, he just started going
double vision.
Oh, okay,
Just
good.
out of nowhere.
Nice.
Yeah,
Just
no,
a bit
it's
of random
good.
double vision, so
Yep.
that's good.
So now I've got a patch on one eye.
Oh, okay.
To see it.
Fill the patch.
And it,
Pirate Phil.
Pirate Phil.
Come
Patch
on.
Adams.
He's like, actually, I played my entire career with cross eyes, and I just managed to game it. It was a massive win.
He's just turned 60 this year, so he's letting out the
I
secrets.
love it. Well, yeah, mate. Thanks very much. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to giving it a good crack. Stay tuned, and hopefully we don't die in the middle of it all.
I think it will be fine. Thank you for having me, big fella.
Legend.
Can't wait.
Superstar.
Thanks, matey.
Take care, bro.
Bye.